Hello all you amazing people, and remember you're always amazing because you clicked on a small YouTuber's video. Currently have 603 subscribers, 97 away from 700. You know, if you want to hit that subscribe button, thank you. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing the cursed Shimenawas on Ganyu. The only reason you should ever do this is to see big damage number on your charge shot. That is the only reason. Please do not try this practically. This will probably not be practical. It is probably best for you to still use Wanderers, which already gives you 35%. And then if we're using my Elemental Mastery build, which we are, it's going to give you another Elemental Mastery buff of 80. Most likely you'll be doing more damage with this. However, we're using my Elemental Mastery build. We're at 210 Elemental Mastery, 67, 138. This ratio is not too good, but I imagine that the crit rate 67 is actually pretty good. Because the first shot, yeah, sure, it's not going to hit like super high crit rate. If it does crit though, which it has a better chance to crit, every single charge shot after that is 80 plus crit chance. I think that's pretty good. So this is the team that we'll be using. I think there is a chance, you know, that you would go for like a Kazuha here and, you know, just use Ganyu's E. Well, actually, no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I really would not recommend doing this, but, you know, we're just going to try. We're going to see how good of big damage numbers we can. At the end, we'll just put Wanderers on, and, you know, I'll show you that damage with my EM build, and we'll see. We'll compare the crit rate, crit damage, and we'll see, like, was Shimenawa ever actually viable? I just realized Ganyu's dead. Okay, Ganyu's alive and well. She's got 100% of her energy. Let's just get into this video. I'm assuming that Ganyu, she's going to hit some pretty big numbers, but it's not going to be that impressive because she's not going to be able to use her burst, which, if you don't know, her burst is actually pretty good, I would say, especially for AoE sort of type things. So let's just do this, and let's do this. All right, Woba. Nope, we gotta do that first. Oh, yeah, so 80,000. And then, you know, like 70,000. And, oh! 120,000. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so the reason why I'm putting a question mark there is because I don't believe that that can happen with... If you see the other numbers that happen after this, it is very clear that this wasn't just, you know, Ganyu hitting a melt. This... I think it was with Bennett buff. I think she still retained the attack buff. However, Bennett's buff was just gone, but the attack buff maybe, you know, there was a split second before the attack buff got taken away, and that's when that final shot got fired. That's all I can assume here, because it doesn't make sense that Ganyu was able to hit that high when she, as you can see later in this clip, we see that her just not doing that much damage, anywhere near that much damage when she just hits him out. I don't believe that Ganyu hit that much damage without Bennett, but I'm going to put a question mark there because I think maybe it looks like we have Bennett's buff up, but we won't be able to tell, you know, there's no way to tell that, you know, maybe we didn't fire it like a split second before we lost the attack buff from Bennett. There is a sort of time window before they take away your attack. It's not instant. It's not an instant buff. Right? It's not an instant takeaway, which is why Yoimiya's Thundering Pulse, even though her energy may get filled at the end of a combo, she will still retain the buff throughout the entire combo because it's not an instant takeaway on your actual buff. It takes a little bit, it's like a little buffer to take away the attack buff. So I think that we retained the Bennett buff, but I'm gonna put a question mark there just because it's uncertain. Also, I will point out her burst is up. That is a little weird for me. Now, this team, not the best when it comes to energy. Like, this is a one and done team. This is just to showcase Ganyu. Not a good idea. So let's just look at her without any buffs, really. So 2016, not that good. 2244, all right, not bad. And then a little bad. Okay, with the 80% chance to crit, we did not seem to crit a lot of the time. What is this shield? Does Shangling doesn't create a shield. Did they update the effects of the shields and how they look? This is so weird. All right, whatever. But we saw the biggest number there was basically 120,000. Let's just retry this, but we're going to use Wanderers. And I imagine that this is going to be a pretty this is going to be an open and shut case. Like, this is gonna be a clear, yeah, no, the Wanderers is better. Okay, so I've brought down the Elemental Mastery is a little high, I would say. It's 90 above, but I do believe that's because of the 80 Elemental Mastery. So it's actually not 90, it's like 10 above, 14 above, I guess you could say. But we do have more energy recharge, and our crit damage is very close. So that's what I was really aiming for, to get the crit damage really close. The crit rate is pretty high compared to what we had before, but I would say the crit rate is decently close. It's not like the best. It's like a 20 difference if you converted it into crit rate, or crit damage, I mean. So it's not the best. Not the best comparison, but we're just going to do the same exact thing. All right. All right. And totally forgot to do this. I'm an idiot. I mean, if you look at Shangling's damage, she's doing 34,000 if he didn't guard every single hit. Now, it is saying that we can use the burst, actually, so that's going to provide us more damage, not only in terms of actual, like, off-field DPS, you know, but it's also going to provide us more damage just in general, because it's going to actually, you know, buff our damage. If you don't know, I'll show the passive talent in a minute. So if you don't know that Ganyu's passive talent actually does increase, I think it's this one, yes. So her burst will grant you 20% cryo damage bonus. So it's gonna grant her cryo damage bonus, so it's gonna give you 20 extra cryo damage bonus. You really can't make use of that on the Shimenawa set unless you have a really high energy recharge, to the point where your E skill will give you enough energy back to almost immediately be able to use your Q, which at that point you're either really lucky with your energy recharge by having like good crit rate and crit damage, right? Or you're just really going for the energy recharge, which is just gonna, and then it's gonna sort of make your damage capabilities actually go down rather than up, and it's just better to use another set, right? The Shimenawa set is fun for big numbers, but sometimes not so fun when you have actual practicality, which is why it's basically only useful on Yoimiya, from what I can remember. I think Yoimiya, and if you use Zhao, he can do it, but yeah, it's about only them. Yeah, you also don't have to actually throw out your E-skill. I'm not, just so we can see the damage numbers. Alright, so we already did more damage. That's nice to see. We already, first shot, we do more damage. Great. That's a great thing to see. Yeah, so I think it's pretty obvious to say that Shimenawa's, we love it, but it's obviously worse, because the extra 80 elemental mastery is what I'm going to attribute this to. I think it's just way better. Now I'm going to actually switch back to my normal pieces. I have 150% crit damage on the one that I actually use, so let me just make sure to switch over to that. I just have my Ganyu way more built for this set, but this wasn't the actual stats. I showed the stats, right? I showed them. Now I'll get into my more consistent ones. We didn't change any of these builds during the process here. So we have Zhongli. He's literally just here with his Tenacity of the Millilith, and then also his level 10 this. It's going to decrease their res by 20%. Yeah. And then we have Shangling, a level 11 Pyronado. I mean, she did 34,000 damage on this team, so it's pretty nice. I mean, her artifacts don't really matter at all too much. I mean, it's literally just Severed Fate. Nothing really is increasing anybody's damage here. And then, yeah. And then we have Bennett here with 865 base attack with a level 10 talent, but then also C1. And then he's also using Noblesse Obliged. So yeah, that's basically all I'm running for this to buff Ganyu, and I think she looked pretty well. Obviously, I think the way you want to build Ganyu is not Wanderers. I mean, you can definitely get away with a good Melt Ganyu. Melt Ganyu can definitely do some good damage for like boss killing. For most of the Spiral Abyss, you're just going to want to use her as an off-field buffer, because as you saw before, she's going to buff the cryo damage by 20%. So she's going to give every single character 20% cryo damage. So let's say your main DPS is actually just Ayaka or something, she's going to give an extra 20%. Ganyu is a more of a support character. Yeah, sure, she can be a main DPS, but she has really good support capabilities that allow even better DPSs to do even greater damage. That's what I see Ganyu as. The only reason I ever built on Wanderers is because I just have a really good Wanderers set, and I don't really have a good... I use a lot of emblem sets, okay? I have a lot of characters that I put on emblem, okay? I don't have that many to spare. Okay, how often do you use crowns? That's the question of the day. Leave your answer in the comments and yeah, get into the video. I wish I had more emblem, but I don't. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed or found it informative, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.